Ever been late to work and needed an excuse so good it could win an Oscar? Well, you're not alone. Americans have come up with some of the wildest, most ridiculous, and oddly creative reasons for clocking in late. Some are believable, others, not so much. Let's jump into 101 of the craziest excuses for being late to work in the US. 1. My cat sat on me, and I didn't want to disturb him. Cat owners know the struggle. The cat chooses your lap, and suddenly you're a hostage to cuteness. Try explaining to your boss that you couldn't move because of cat law. And let's be honest, if you move, that cat is plotting revenge for the rest of the day. 2. I accidentally put my car keys in the fridge. A solid excuse that raises more questions than answers. Why were you near the fridge with your car keys? What else did you put in there? And more importantly, was it at least cold enough to justify calling it a cool mistake? The real tragedy is realizing your keys are next to last night's pizza, and now you're even more distracted. 3. I got stuck behind a slow parade on a Tuesday morning. Parades are great when you plan to watch them. But if you're stuck behind a rogue marching band at 8 a.m. on a workday, you might just start questioning reality. And of course, the one time you try to take a shortcut, you find out the local mayor is leading a parade down your only escape route. 4. I thought today was Sunday. We've all had those mornings where time makes no sense, but convincing your boss that your internal calendar completely malfunctioned? That takes guts. The worst part is waking up relaxed, making a slow breakfast, and then seeing the dozens of missed calls from your manager. 5. My GPS took me to the wrong state. Technology fails happen, but if your GPS sends you so far off course that you cross state lines, maybe it's not the navigation system's fault. Either you're the most trusting person on the planet, or you secretly wanted to see what was in the next state over. 6. A goat blocked my driveway and I had to negotiate with it. Yes, this actually happened to someone. Goats are unpredictable creatures with strong opinions about who enters and leaves their territory. No amount of honking will change their minds, and unless you have a pocket full of snacks, you're not getting past that fluffy little dictator anytime soon. 7. I locked myself in my car. A modern mystery. Did the doors malfunction? Did you somehow forget how car locks work? Either way, it's an excuse that's both genius and embarrassing. Imagine the moment of pure panic when you realize you're trapped inside the thing that's supposed to take you to work. 8. I got caught in a flash mob at the train station. The idea of a sudden dance routine breaking out and trapping someone in a Broadway-style nightmare is hilarious. But unless it was a 5-hour-long performance, your boss might not buy it. And if they do, they're probably just jealous they weren't invited. 9. A squirrel stole my breakfast, and I had to chase it. When food theft gets personal, priorities shift. And if you've ever locked eyes with a squirrel mid-theft, you know they aren't afraid of confrontation. Let's face it, breakfast is sacred, and no boss would expect you to let that injustice slide. 10. My Roomba trapped me in my bedroom. Some people fight robots, others are defeated by them. If your Roomba blocks the doorway and you're too tired to jump over it, maybe you deserve the extra sleep. And honestly, this is just proof that the robot uprising is starting in the most passive-aggressive way possible. 11. I was halfway to work when I realized I was still in my pajamas. When the autopilot fails and you don't realize you forgot to change until you're in traffic, do you turn back? Or just own the look? Nothing humbles you faster than stopping at a red light and realizing you're still wearing bunny slippers. 12. I got lost inside a parking garage. A parking garage is basically a concrete maze designed by someone who hates people. Getting trapped in one isn't just an excuse. It's a survival story. The real horror is walking in circles for 15 minutes while pretending you totally know where you're going. 13. A deer wouldn't let me out of my car. Nature has its own rules, and sometimes a deer will decide that you need to stay put. Honking? Doesn't work. Staring contest? You'll lose. You're not late because of traffic. You're late because Bambi decided to hold you hostage. 14. My morning coffee was too hot, so I had to let it cool down. Technically, this is a safety issue. Burned tongues make for bad workdays. But unless you were waiting hours for that coffee to cool, this one might not fly. Then again, coffee is a vital part of the work process, so maybe your boss will understand. 15. I got caught in a no left turn nightmare and couldn't escape. Some intersections are designed to trap you in an endless loop of right turns. If you've ever driven through a city like Boston, you know this is a valid excuse. Nothing says, "I give up," like finally pulling into a parking lot just to figure out where the heck you went wrong. 16. I locked my house keys inside my car and my car keys inside my house. A true test of intelligence and patience. At that moment, you realize you've single-handedly outsmarted yourself in the dumbest way possible. The only solution? Standing outside, contemplating your life choices while waiting for a locksmith to judge you silently. 17. I fell asleep in my driveway. Sometimes the hardest part of the journey is just starting the car. You sit down, the seat is warm, you close your eyes for just a second, and next thing you know, your boss is wondering if you've been kidnapped. Honestly, this is just proof that offices should have nap pods. 18. A possum took over my garage, and I wasn't emotionally ready to fight it. Ever locked eyes with a possum and known deep in your soul that you weren't going to win? These little guys operate with the energy of someone who knows they're unhinged, and that's terrifying. You either move out, or you start paying them rent. 19. I was too busy watching the GPS count down the minutes to realize I had already arrived. The moment when you're so invested in that ETA 3 minutes countdown that you forget you're already at the building. There's nothing quite like circling the block twice before realizing your own brain betrayed you. 20. I got caught in an endless after-you battle at the coffee shop door. You step forward, they step back. You wave them in, they wave you in. You both laugh awkwardly, stuck in a politeness loop that somehow lasts 5 full minutes. At this point, the only way out is to fake a phone call and walk away like it never happened. 21. I accidentally took my pet's medication instead of my vitamins and had to Google if I was going to turn into a Labrador. Ever noticed how pet meds and human meds look suspiciously similar? One sleepy mistake, and suddenly you're halfway to work wondering why you really want to chase squirrels. 22. I got stuck behind a garbage truck that refused to hurry up. It's like they know you're late and have decided today is the day they take their sweet, sweet time. 1 stop? Fine. 2 stops? Annoying. But when they reverse for no reason while you sit there helplessly, that's when you start questioning if they're doing it on purpose. 23. A bird flew into my house and we both panicked for 20 minutes. You'd think humans would have the upper hand in this scenario. But no, it's a battle of pure chaos, filled with flailing arms, broken lamps, and one very confused bird who somehow forgets how windows work. The worst part? You're late. The bird is still there, and now it owns your home. 24. My toddler hid my car keys in an undisclosed location. Ever played a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek with a 2-year-old? They have no concept of logic, so your keys could be in the fridge, the toy box, or inside a peanut butter jar. The only thing they won't be is somewhere obvious. 25. I tried to multitask brushing my teeth and checking emails, and I definitely swallowed some toothpaste. A bad decision, immediately regretted. Now you're standing in your bathroom staring at yourself in the mirror, wondering if your stomach can digest minty foam. Do you call poison control? Do you just accept your fate? Either way, you're late. 26. I tripped over absolutely nothing and had to lie there for a second to reevaluate my life. Sometimes, gravity just decides you've had enough confidence for the day. You don't just trip, you commit to the fall. And when you hit the ground, you realize, maybe today just isn't your day. 27. My Uber driver got lost, then asked me for directions. Sir, if I knew where we were going, I wouldn't need you. At this point, you're both just 2 lost souls, bonding over mutual confusion, hoping that one of you figures it out before the meter hits an outrageous price. 28. My shoelace got stuck in an escalator, and I had to perform an emergency escape. There are 2 kinds of people in this situation. Those who panic immediately, and those who accept their fate and prepare to be slowly consumed by the machine. Either way, it's a battle of dignity versus survival. 29. I mistook a random person's car for mine and even sat inside before realizing it. The sheer horror when you look up and see unfamiliar air fresheners, an alien radio station, and a glove box that's definitely not yours. There's no cool way to recover from this. You just have to get out and pretend you meant to do it. 30. I tried a new shortcut and somehow ended up twice as far away from work. That moment when Google Maps offers a quicker route and you foolishly trust it, only to end up on a mysterious back road that looks like the start of a horror movie. The shortcut wasn't short, but it was an adventure. 31. I got into my car, but the seat was so cold that I had to mentally prepare myself before driving. You'd think stepping into an ice-cold car wouldn't be a life-altering event, yet here we are. It's that moment where you just sit there, gripping the steering wheel with frozen fingers, wondering if your boss would accept car was basically a freezer as a legitimate excuse. 32. I dropped my phone between my car seat and the center console, and retrieving it turned into a full-scale rescue mission. You start with confidence, thinking you can just grab it quickly. But then, nope, it's stuck. Now you're doing Olympic-level stretching, wedging your arm into the abyss, accidentally hitting every car button possible while questioning every decision that led to this moment. 33. I stopped to get gas, and somehow forgot to actually pump the gas. You pull into the station, swipe your card, go through all the motions, and then just drive away like an absolute fool. The realization only hits once you're miles down the road and the gas light is still on. At that point, the only thing running on fumes is your brain. 34. My dog refused to come inside, and negotiations took longer than expected. You start with the friendly approach, calling their names sweetly. Then, it escalates to bribery. Eventually, it's just you standing in your yard at 7 a.m., freezing, begging your own pet to please just have some respect for your job. Meanwhile, the dog is just staring at you like, what's your rush? 35. I sneezed while applying mascara and had to start my entire face over. One sneeze. That's all it takes to turn your reflection into a Tim Burton character. And no, you can't just wipe it off, it's now everywhere. What should have been a 5-minute makeup routine just turned into an unscheduled 20-minute crisis. 36. I took a sip of coffee that was way too hot, and I had to sit there in silence while my soul left my body. There's nothing quite like the experience of boiling liquid hitting your tongue, forcing you to make that awkward, open-mouthed ha sound while you wave your hands like that's going to help. The best part? You still take another sip, because caffeine addiction is stronger than self-preservation. 37. I got locked in a public restroom because the door handle fell off. It's the kind of thing you think only happens in horror movies, until it happens to you. Now you're in a stall, debating whether to crawl under the door like some kind of escape artist or just accept your fate and start a new life as a bathroom cryptid. 38. My car wouldn't start because I was pressing the wrong button. For 5 minutes. You'd think that after years of driving, you'd have mastered starting the vehicle. But no, your brain had other plans. And of course, the moment you figure it out, you have to sit there for another minute, just processing the sheer shame of what just happened. 39. I tried to drink from a water bottle with the cap still on and had to sit with that failure for a while. It's a universal experience, but somehow, it always feels extra embarrassing. And if anyone witnessed it, that's it. Your dignity is gone. You don't just move on from something like that. You need at least 5 minutes to recover from your own foolishness. 40. I put on 2 completely different shoes and didn't notice until I was already at my car. Some mornings, your brain just decides that matching isn't a priority. And of course, it's never 2 similar shoes. It's 1 sneaker and 1 dress shoe. Because chaos. Now you either go back inside and fix it, or you fully commit to being that person today. 41. I got stuck behind a school bus that stopped at every single house in the neighborhood. You always think, how bad could it be? And then, bam! Stop after stop after stop. At some point, you start considering just abandoning your car and walking to work instead. 42. I accidentally wore my shirt inside out and had to go home to fix it because I refused to be that person all day. Sure, nobody might notice, but you know. And that's enough to completely ruin your ability to function. The worst part? You had the time to check in the morning. You just didn't. 43. I tripped while walking to my desk and had to pretend I meant to do it. The key is confidence. You don't just fall, You launch into a stretch, a fake jog, or even a quick whoops just checking my shoelace. Move. But deep down, you know the truth. That was a full-body betrayal, and now you have to live with it. 44. I walked straight into a glass door and needed a moment to collect myself. There's a special kind of humiliation that comes from fully face-planting into a door that should have been open. It's the combination of the thud, the immediate headshake, and the way everyone definitely saw it happen that makes you question every decision you've ever made. 45. I tried to open my office door with my house key and stood there for way too long wondering why it wasn't working. You jiggle the handle, you double-check the key. For a good 30 seconds, you actually consider whether you forgot how doors work. Then, the slow, painful realization hits. You're just not that bright today. 46. I forgot my lunch at home, turned around to get it, then forgot my work bag instead. It started as a quick detour, but now I'm in a full-on loop of forgetfulness. At this point, I should just go home, eat my lunch, and accept that today is a lost cause. 47. I was ready to leave, but my dog gave me the look, so I had to stay for a few extra cuddles. You know the look, the big, sad eyes, the tiny head tilt, the silent guilt trip that makes you question your entire schedule. I had two choices, be late or break my dog's heart, and honestly, no regrets. 48. I was stuck in traffic caused by a runaway cow. Not a metaphor. An actual cow had escaped onto the highway, trotting along like it had places to be. And judging by the way every single driver pulled out their phone to take pictures, I wasn't the only one re-evaluating my life choices. 49. I hit every red light and got stuck behind the slowest driver in existence. You ever feel like the entire universe is conspiring against you? That was me this morning. At one point, I was going so slow, I started questioning if I was actually moving at all, or if time had just stopped. 50. I spilled coffee all over myself and had to go home to change. Twice. Because of course, after the first wardrobe change, I still wasn't careful enough. Now I'm just standing there, staring at the second coffee stain, questioning if I even deserve caffeine. You're still here? Impressive. Comment, halfway hero, below. 51. I got stuck behind someone who had never used a self-checkout before. You'd think scanning groceries would be intuitive. You'd be wrong. I watched a grown adult try to scan a banana for 5 full minutes before calling an employee. And at that point, I knew I wasn't making it to work on time. 52. I had to turn my car around because I wasn't 100% sure I turned off the stove. I was pretty sure I did, but pretty sure wasn't good enough to risk burning my house down. Of course, I got home and found out it was off the whole time, meaning I was just late for absolutely no reason. 53. I dropped my toast, and it landed peanut butter side down. I needed a moment. There are some mornings where everything goes wrong, and this was the final straw. I just stood there, staring at my ruined breakfast, questioning if I was emotionally strong enough to continue with my day. 54. I accidentally hit snooze instead of off 5 times. It started as a simple 5 more minutes, then 5 became 10, then 10 became an hour. At this point, I should probably just admit that my alarm clock runs my entire life. 55. I tried to leave, but my hoodie string got caught in my door handle, and I fully yanked myself backwards. I was already late, but apparently my own outfit had other plans. Nothing humbles you faster than being physically stopped by a sweatshirt. 56. My kid insisted on tying their own shoes, and it turned into a 20-minute motivational speech. You can't rush a toddler who's determined to do it themselves. So instead, I sat there, watching them struggle, offering supportive comments like I was their personal life coach. It was both inspiring and painfully slow. 57. I got halfway to work before realizing I left my laptop at home. The 5 stages of grief hit hard. Denial. No, I didn't. Anger. How could I be this dumb? Bargaining. Maybe I don't need it. Depression. My whole day is ruined. Acceptance. Fine, turning around. 58. I got caught behind a train, and it was the longest train in history. I swear, this train was carrying every single shipping container in existence. And of course, just when I thought it was finally ending. Nope. Another section appeared and my soul left my body. 59. I forgot I had a Zoom meeting this morning and had to make myself look presentable in record time. Nothing like waking up to a calendar reminder that you have exactly 2 minutes to go from just woke up goblin to semi-professional human being. The camera went on, but my brain still buffering. 60. I couldn't find my car in the parking lot and had to do the awkward, "Where did I park?" shuffle. You ever pace up and down the lot, pretending you totally know where your car is while secretly panicking? Yeah, that was me. By the time I found it, I was sweating and definitely late. 61. I left my coffee on the roof of my car, drove off, and had to mourn my loss. It wasn't just coffee, it was hope in a cup. And as I watched it slide down my windshield in slow motion, I knew the real tragedy wasn't the mess. It was the fact that I'd have to face the morning without it. 62. I had a full-blown existential crisis while staring at my closet. You ever just stand there, unable to decide what to wear, questioning everything? Do I dress for comfort? Do I dress for success? Who even am I? By the time I snapped out of it, I was still in my pajamas, late, and no closer to solving life's mysteries. 63. I got stuck in a group text argument and physically couldn't look away. It started as a harmless notification. Then suddenly, it was an all-out war over something completely pointless. Could I have put my phone down? Yes. Did I? Absolutely not. 64. I tried to take a shortcut and ended up in an unfamiliar neighborhood where GPS refused to help me. You ever make one wrong turn and suddenly you're in a part of town you swear doesn't exist? At this point, I might as well apply for residency because I live here now. 65. I ran back inside to grab my headphones because I refused to face the world without them. No music, no podcasts, just raw, unfiltered reality? Absolutely not. If I'm sitting in traffic, I at least need the illusion of productivity. 66. I got lost in a YouTube rabbit hole and forgot time was a thing. It started with one quick video. Next thing I knew, I was deep into a documentary about competitive duck herding, and my morning schedule was completely destroyed. 67. I stepped outside, saw the weather, and had to completely change my outfit. The forecast lied to me. Now I'm either sweating through a sweater or shivering in shorts, and either way, I had to start my whole morning over. 68. I dropped my AirPod and spent way too long trying to fish it out from under my car seat. You think you can just grab it, but no. This tiny, expensive piece of technology has now entered another dimension. By the time I retrieved it, I was sweaty, frustrated, and questioning why I ever went wireless. 69. My car door was frozen shut and I had to fight to get inside. Ever tried to casually break into your own car? It's a special kind of struggle, one that involves yanking the handle, aggressively scraping ice, and wondering if you should just Uber to work instead. 70. I got distracted scrolling memes and lost all concept of time. My alarm went off, and instead of getting up, I thought, let me check my phone real quick. Big mistake. 1 minute, it's a harmless scroll. Next minute, I'm fully invested in a debate about whether soup is a drink. 71. I tripped over my pet, and we both had to recover emotionally. I hurt them. They hurt me. Now we're both sitting there, staring at each other, wondering if our bond will ever be the same. The guilt alone cost me 5 extra minutes. 72. I put the milk in the pantry and the cereal in the fridge, then had to sit down and reevaluate my entire morning. I don't even have an excuse for this one. My brain just gave up on functioning. At this point, I should probably just go back to bed and try again tomorrow. 73. I got stuck waiting for my smart speaker to respond because I refused to repeat myself. I asked nicely. I enunciated. And yet, Alexa still had the audacity to say, I didn't quite catch that. No, we're not moving on until you acknowledge me. 74. I went to make toast, got distracted, and forgot about it until the smell of burning reminded me I still had responsibilities. Ever just zone out? Like, fully? The toast was right there. The toaster dinged. And yet somehow my brain just refused to process the information until it was too late. 75. I was this close to leaving on time, but then I had to untangle my headphones, and that took an eternity. It's like they actively tie themselves into a chaotic mess overnight. Now I'm standing there, performing delicate surgery with the patience of a bomb squad expert, because I refused to give up. 76. I waved at someone I thought I knew, but it wasn't them, and I had to physically leave the area to recover. The embarrassment was too much. I couldn't just walk away. I had to relocate my entire existence. At that point, work could wait. 77. I left my umbrella at home, ran back to get it, then forgot my work bag again. My morning turned into a tragic relay race where the only prize was my own frustration. At this point, I should just start wearing everything I need like some kind of over-prepared hiker. 78. I stepped in a puddle so deep it should have had lifeguards. One step, one wrong move. And now my entire foot is drowning in cold, soggy regret. Turning around to change was the only option, unless my office accepts squish, squish as a new walking sound. 79. I forgot to charge my phone overnight and I refused to leave until I got at least 5% more. Risking a dead phone before lunchtime? Absolutely not. I'd rather be late than suffer through a day where I can't check memes during meetings. 80. I sneezed so hard I threw my back out and had to lie down for a minute. You know you're getting old when a sneeze takes you down like an MMA fighter. There's no coming back from that quickly. You just lie there, accepting your new reality. 81. I tried to carry too many things at once and dropped everything like a walking disaster. It was supposed to be one smooth trip out the door. Instead, it turned into a full-blown cleanup operation as I stared at my spilled coffee, shattered confidence, and distant hopes of being on time. 82. I got emotionally invested in a random morning news segment and had to see how it ended. I didn't mean to care about a llama rescue story, but suddenly I was deeply involved. Work can wait. First, I need to know if Gregory the llama found his forever home. 83. I took too long picking a podcast and couldn't start driving until I found the perfect one. This is a serious decision. Too boring? I'll zone out. Too interesting? I'll sit in the parking lot refusing to get out of the car. Finding the right vibe is more important than punctuality. 84. I walked out of my house with a cup of tea but forgot my keys, so now I'm just locked outside holding a beverage. Nothing makes you feel more foolish than standing there, sipping tea, realizing you've outsmarted yourself in the dumbest way possible. 85. My car windows were so fogged up that I had to sit and wait forever before I could actually drive. Could I have wiped them down? Probably. Did I just stare at them instead, sighing dramatically while waiting for the defroster to do its thing? Absolutely. 86. I got trapped behind a driver who insisted on going 10 miles under the speed limit. I wasn't just late. I was rage late. Every fiber of my being wanted to yell, "Please, I beg you, find the gas pedal." But instead, I just sat there, gripping the steering wheel, questioning my life choices. 87. I forgot it was trash day and had to sprint outside in my pajamas like an Olympic athlete. There's a unique kind of desperation that hits when you hear the garbage truck right outside and realize you forgot to take the bin out. Now I'm out there, barefoot, in my PJs, battling against time and dignity. 88. I put my contacts in the wrong eyes and had to redo my whole morning. Ever want to experience instant disorientation? Try swapping your contact lenses. Suddenly, everything looks weird. Your depth perception is broken, and your day is already a disaster before it even starts. 89. I accidentally put salt in my coffee instead of sugar and had to rethink my entire existence. One sip. One horrifying, salty sip. The betrayal was personal. The morning was ruined. And I needed a few moments to emotionally process what just happened before even thinking about work. 90. I got distracted staring at my pet and completely lost track of time. You ever just look at them and think, "Wow, you're adorable," and suddenly 15 minutes have passed? My bad. I was too busy watching my cat exist like a tiny, judgmental king. 91. I grabbed the wrong travel mug and didn't realize until I took a sip of day-old coffee. Nothing wakes you up faster than a mouthful of stale disappointment. At that point, being late wasn't even the problem. Recovering from the betrayal was. 92. I walked out without my glasses and had to guess my way back inside. Everything was just slightly too blurry to function. Could I have made it to work? Maybe. Would I have looked like a confused, squinting cryptid the entire time? Definitely. 93. I was trapped behind a cyclist who refused to let me pass. Nothing but open road, yet somehow I was moving at negative miles per hour. The sheer frustration of crawling behind someone casually pedaling was enough to turn me into a villain for the rest of the day. 94. I was halfway out the door when I smelled my shirt and had to make an emergency wardrobe change. You ever think you're good to go, only to catch a faint something and realize, nope. I was either changing or spending the day avoiding all human interaction. 95. I dropped my phone on my face while checking emails in bed and had to recover. It wasn't just painful, it was humiliating. I had to lie there for a second, staring at the ceiling, wondering why gravity had chosen violence so early in the morning. 96. I saw my neighbor struggling with their groceries and instinctively helped, only to realize they did not need my help. Ever force kindness onto someone who really didn't ask for it? Now I'm standing there, awkwardly holding a bag of frozen peas, rethinking my entire personality. 97. I had a full-blown mental debate over whether I really needed to go to work at all. You ever stare at your reflection and think, what if I just didn't? I wasn't sick. I wasn't trapped. I was just having an intense philosophical crisis about capitalism at 7 a.m. 98. I dropped a piece of toast and it somehow disappeared into another dimension. I saw it fall. I heard it land. But no matter where I looked, it was gone. And I couldn't leave until I found it, because I refused to let breakfast haunt me for the rest of the day. 99. I got distracted by a really aggressive group chat and lost all sense of time. It started as a funny meme, but then, chaos. Suddenly, I was emotionally invested in a deep debate over something completely irrelevant, and work was no longer my priority. 100. I walked into the kitchen and forgot why I was there, so I had to start my morning over. You ever just stand there staring at the fridge with zero memory of what you were supposed to be doing? My morning rebooted like a Windows update, and I had to wait for my brain to catch up. 101. I was so focused on making sure I had everything that I walked straight into my own front door. Nothing says ready for the day, like fully body slamming a stationary object. I wasn't late because of traffic. I was late because I had to sit down and process my own stupidity. You made it to the end. Welcome to the Factomer Club. If you're seeing this, that means you're one of the dedicated few who made it through all 101 excuses. Prove it by commenting our secret code word, late but legendary. Because if you're gonna be late, you might as well make it memorable. Let's see how many true Factomers are out there. See you in the next one.